Welcome back to Operation England. The third game has just finished 0-0, and it was I don't even know what word to use to describe that. It was better, but so minimally. It's still just rubbish, isn't it? It's just rubbish. It's boring to watch. And the Euros would be way better off without England in it because we're dragging the standards down. I mean, it's shocking. It really is. First thing I want to say, though, Slovenia, I totally get it. They're not the most gifted squad in the tournament. They're going to struggle based off just that fact alone, right? They're not going to have the quality that some of the other top nations have. And I understand that. But my God, their game plan of just going down at every available opportunity, holding their heads when there was no contact with their heads, the tactical fouls and all this stuff. I get it, and fair play to them. They've got themselves a draw, and what we can do is just quickly have a look at the table. We can have a look at all of the other tables so far as well. Some games have obviously been confirmed. I don't know if this is actually 100% up to date, though, so maybe we need to look at this again. It looks it, though, but it seems we're going to be playing Netherlands. I think so, anyway. Look at the state of this group. I mean, not a single team has scored more than 2 goals in 3 games. And yeah, look, okay, I can be Mr. Positive if you'd like. We won our group! Woo! We didn't lose! Yes! But it's just Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia. I remember the groups being announced, and I just thought, oh, yes. We avoided some really potentially difficult 3rd and 4th slot teams. And obviously, we're England. I was kind of confident going into this anyway with the squad we've got. But just, again, today, just seeing this lineup. I mean, okay, so going into the match, the only change we made was Gallagher coming in for Trent. That was it. I was hoping for at least one more change. Personally, I would have started Gordon in this game, although I don't think he actually did too much when he came on. But he was barely given a chance. I would have been okay with dropping Foden. I get it. I know it's a difficult thing for Southgate to do. We've got a few golden boys in this squad that are just seemingly undroppable. He can't not play Bellingham. He can't not play Foden. You can't drop Kane. He's the captain. There are certain players that are almost untouchable in his mind. The reality is he's the manager. He can do whatever he wants, but he hasn't got the balls to do it. For me, Kane isn't getting enough. Yes, okay, he's the best striker in the world. At Bayern and at Tottenham, so good and could drop deep and affect the game, but it just isn't working for England. So why keep doing it? Has Southgate said, hey, Harry, H, whatever they call him, don't drop deep? Or if you're going to do it, just don't go so deep and make sure you're busting a gut to get back up the pitch. It just feels like they've just said, yeah, just ignore 99% of everyone who's watched England so far and everyone's thoughts that Kane's dropping too deep. He was playing at left back at times today. It's like they're ignoring it. Can Southgate not see what literally everyone else sees? It is pretty remarkable, isn't it? Foden effectively swapping with Bellingham throughout the game. I saw Foden drifting into that attacking midfielder role, the cam role, and then you've got Bellingham going over on the left. And then later in the game, when Palmer comes on, who has been one of the best players in the league, in the Premier League this season, or last season now, I'm still not used to saying that. Palmer plays on the right, through the middle, could probably play him as a number 9 as well. What position does he just not play? Left wing. Where does he end up? Left wing. And it wasn't permanent. He didn't play on the left for the whole entirety of his appearance today, but I saw Bellingham moving over to the right, Foden through the middle, Palmer on the left, and then Bellingham would move. Oh, it's like they're trying too hard. This formation here, play the formation. When we scored, although it was offside, every player that you see there was in that position, and it worked. And then later on in the 92nd minute or something, when Palmer had that really good opportunity and it was an awful shot. Real shame. I feel like Saka might have done better there personally. Even though when Saka came off, I had no problem with that, by the way. Obviously, I'm a Saka fanboy. I've got a signed Saka shirt that I've invested in. I was happy for Palmer to come on for him. That's fine. But that move, everyone's in their right position. It's just, I think I've nailed it by saying we're just trying too hard. It's like Southgate is trying to be something that he's not. He can't tactically set up the team to do these rotations, to get players in these pockets of space, to have the inverted runs, the overlaps, having the pivots and all these fancy words that people like to throw around. It's very simple. And I think national football is so different. Okay, international football is much, much, much more simple, just purely because the players don't play with each other as much. You can't build these really intricate tactics unless you are a top level elite coach, which we all know Southgate isn't. He isn't a coach, in my opinion. He's a manager. He's really good at talking the talk. He's great with the players. They're all really close buddies. But when it comes to setting up the team, everyone can see it. Positives, though. Positives. We were slightly better today. Where is the momentum? Oh, look at that. But we're still not creating chances. We've had 12 shots and only one of them here on FOTMob is listed as a big chance. And it's true. The goal we scored was beautiful. It was liquid football. It was gorgeous. Really nice football. It was offside, but I thought, and I said out loud, that's it now. That's the kicker. That's the moment where Southgate should be on the side saying, do that. Because no matter what Slovenia want to do, they can't handle a team of players playing like that. Not many teams could defend against that. When you've got Declan Rice pushing forward with a Bellingham and a Foden and a Harry Kane, and not many defenders could actually stop you from doing that. So just do it again. But what do we do instead? We resort to the sideways passing. Rice is unrecognisable at the moment. Okay, sure, he's a safe player when he needs to be. In an Arsenal shirt, I've watched him all season long be a player that kicks us off. He's like the transition man. He gets back and wins the ball and he goes. And I can just tell he's screaming internally to go. Let me loose. But he can't. He can't because Gallagher isn't going to do the job. Mainu, when he came on, who, by the way, I thought was really good. That's another positive. I love Mainu, and he should start the next game, by the way. Him and Rice. But I think we're not able to utilise Rice like Arsenal do. And that's just obviously coming from an Arsenal fan. You can disagree with that. But what you want to do with these players is get them playing like they do for their clubs. Because then that old saying of, on paper, we are one of the best teams. We're one of the favourites. That the reality is, on paper, yeah, we've got some of the best players in the world in each position. Of course we do. But together, they're useless. They don't play as a team. It's just a bunch of individual players with a manager that quite simply is out of his depth and is terrified. He's absolutely terrified of these players here getting caught forward and this player being stuck and not able to handle Stojanovic and Cherin and Elsnich and Mlakar. And come on, it's Slovenia. So many times Trippier got the ball here and I'm screaming myself, just go. But he's terrified of it himself. Not only will he get an absolute bollocking from the manager, most likely, he hasn't got the pace to do it because Trippier is 37 years old now, or whatever he is. We don't have the facilities for it, bruv. It doesn't make any sense to me because Trippier, for Newcastle, literally lives in this area here. Kyle Walker for Man City, always really far forward, but obviously it just doesn't translate. It just doesn't. It doesn't translate, and it's really frustrating to watch. But again, Mainu, brilliant. So happy with his performance. Palmer had moments where I thought, okay, play him through the middle. I think that's his best role. But then we're getting into that tricky scenario again of, okay, well then what about Foden? Okay, so you shove him on the left. Then what about Bellingham? And it is very tricky. I think, though, that after 3 games, we clearly haven't learnt from our issues. It is going to have to come down to one of Foden and Bellingham can play. Pick one. Those 2 players, pick one. And then If you stick with Bellingham, play him in that number 10 role. So many times we've got the ball in the box today, and I'm saying, if that's Real Madrid, Bellingham scores. But because it's England, we don't. So we play Bellingham like he does for Real Madrid, really high up the pitch. He can drop back and help out, but push him up, okay? And then on the left, you put a Gordon in, okay? And on the right, you have Saka. Don't be doing all of this rotational rubbish, having Bellingham popping out on the left and on the right because Foden wants to play in the middle. And by the way, Foden is a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. But am I the only one who just thinks he's getting a bit too cocky now? Every free kick, he's shoving his hand up like, that's mine. Bruv. Chill, okay? Not only have you never scored a free kick for England, you're way down the pecking order. If you ask me, Trippier should be the set-piece taker. And even then, I'm looking at Harry Kane potentially being ahead of him. Harry Kane can whip in a great free kick. I think potentially Saka as well. But obviously Foden, he's come close with a free kick today. And he knows it. He's one of the greatest young players right now for Man City. For England, he hasn't done anything. Okay, and I'm sorry to say it, but he would be my choice of player to drop. I want to see Gordon or just something else, okay? And it's not going to happen because Southgate, like I've said, is terrified. He's absolutely terrified of making any big decisions. I thought it was brave when he moved Walker to left back and brought on Trent, but once you're in the last 10 minutes, it's just throwing the dice a bit, isn't it? Do we change to 3 at the back? Do we? It's probably too late to do something like that now and risk upsetting the system we've got. Have we got a system? I'm just saying these things out loud and just instantly thinking in my head, but you won't do that. So what's the point? What's the point in this review? Realistically, we all know we're not going to win the Euros, and I think we all secretly knew that going into the tournament, but we're just really realising how far off it we are with Southgate as manager. He will go after this tournament. I think he's realising himself, he must be after 8 years on the job, that no one wants him there anymore. He's the FA's yes man. The players love him because he's relaxed, he's easygoing. They walk all over him. You can just tell, can't you? But on the pitch, they don't seem to take the game by the scruff of the neck themselves. I'm itching for a Bellingham or even a Declan Rice or a Foden or someone to just, nah, I'm not doing what you've said, Gareth. You're wrong. Okay, I do this week in, week out for my club, and I'm going to do it today for England. I want a match-winning moment. I want someone to step up and create some magic. Because at the moment, it's too rigid. It's too predictable. And Slovenia were licking their lips within half an hour, 40 minutes, thinking, oh, they're just doing the same thing again. The same thing that they've been preparing for the entire week. And talking of licking lips, Netherlands, I'll double check who we've got, but whoever gets England, whether that's beyond next round, if we make it through, which we could, the quarters, the semis, every single team will fancy their chances. And that isn't what you want going into a tournament. You want teams scared of you, not wanting to draw you. But that's not the case with England. But, and I'll end it here, we all know the quality is there, right? It could click. Something could happen. A player will step up, will have a great game, and on our day, I'm fairly confident, take Gareth Southgate out of the picture, on our day, this team could do something great. So it might happen, but it probably won't. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next round.